Welcome back to Big Movie Mouth Off, the podcast where three Salt Lake City-based critics wrestle about film. I'm Jeff Counts.
I'm Brooks Bird.
And I'm Adam McDonald.
That was for you, Adam.
Thank you.
We got a wrestle in there.
I set that up last week, so.
You did. We are now recording episode 40.
Woo.
And when we have little milestones like that, I'm reminded to ask you, our devoted listeners, to once again take a moment and tell your friends about the show. The last time I asked you to do this, we had a nice little bump. So make sure to like us and subscribe and do all the things that every podcaster asks you to do. But we have learned that the best thing for us is word of mouth. So please spread the word about Big Movie Mouth Off. And let's go for another episode 40 bump. What do you say, boys?
Oh, yeah.
Sounds like a plan to me.
All
nice
right.
and middle-aged.
It's true. We're going to start getting pretty creaky soon. But right now, we're once again going to do a single film and two related guilty pleasures. It's just the way it is in the summer with all of our crazy day jobs. Apologies, but this one film, luckily, is one we've all been dying to talk about for a while. And I think the conversation is going to get a little spicy. I'm talking, of course, about Marvel's Fantastic Four: First Steps. Adam is going to take us through the synopsis. Here before that is a little bit of the trailer.
Famous around the world, please welcome the Fantastic Four. Mr. Fantastic, Invisible Woman, Human Torch,
I love you, Johnny!
and The Thing.
Hey, what time is it? Say the thing.
That's not really something I say.
It's clobbering time.
That's just in the cartoon.
Okay, Adam, tell us what Fantastic Four is about.
All right, so this takes place in Earth 828, which is separate from the main Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's kind of a futuristic, retro 1960s America, and they're celebrating the Fantastic Four, who are Reed Richards, Sue Storm, Ben Grimm, and Johnny Storm, all played by Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Eben Moss Bachrach, however you say his name, and Joseph Quinn, respectively. They've saved the Earth many times from Mole Man and all these crazy people who really aren't that big of a bad guy. But that changes when the Silver Surfer, who is played by Julia Garner, visits Earth and says that they have been chosen by the Devourer Galactus to be sacrificed to his eternal hunger. So now the Fantastic Four have to go out there and try to stop a threat greater than anything they've ever seen before. And in the meantime, also dealing with the fact that Sue Storm is pregnant and having a kid, something that was completely unexpected, and the child might be the linchpin to the whole thing.
I'm going to give an alternative synopsis, just so.
Okay.
Hey, do you need a live action Incredibles? Too bad, you're going to get one.
I mean, that's kind of, the Incredibles were based on the Fantastic Four, so it's like, it's kind of reductive to
Chicken and egg.
compare them again and again, but
It is, but this movie feels like it was a remake of that one. And I'll tell you why I'm saying that, because I think for the first time, and you might disagree that it's the first time, but for me, the first time since Disney bought the brand, I feel like their fingerprints are all over this movie. I feel like they not only own this movie, they made this movie. This felt like a Disney project to me, almost like they were trying to drum up some money to redo Tomorrowland or something. It felt very Disney, very controlled, very thin. Brooks, I think you liked it right out of the gate, right?
Yeah, I mean, the bar was already set very low after the last few Fantastic Four movies. I mean, aside from this, I'd say the best one might be the Roger Corman produced film. So
which we've never legally seen. So
exactly, yeah. I don't know what you're talking about.
yeah, I've never seen it. So
No, YouTube doesn't exist.
Burn after
But-
reading.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, the bar was low, and I think that with how hit and miss the last phase of the MCU was, maybe it felt fresher because it was brighter, shinier. But then again, I guess that leads into what you were saying about it feeling more like a Disney park ride and an Incredibles adaptation. But it was fine for me. I liked what I got. The cast was great. The effects were better than normal, better than average for the MCU.
With one exception, which I'll come back to in a moment.
and I know what it is. So yes, continue.
Uh-oh. Oh, I think I do too. Because I noticed it as well. And I was like, why? Why?
Let's rip that diaper right off.
But
Well,
bump.
Brooks, you bring up an interesting point because It could be that one of the reasons I was so disappointed by this film is that I'm judging it based on my expectations of the MCU. But it sounds like you're judging it based on your expectations of previous Fantastic Four movies. And that is an interesting way to look at it.
For me, it was because we know what to expect from the MCU. It's going to have lots of action, lots of CGI, lots of jokes. And so for me, I felt, can this wipe the slate clean for the franchise? And for the most part, yeah, I like the family dynamic aspect of it. And having a kid probably added to that for me. Like, seems like that's happened a lot this year. Been a lot of like daddy daughter family oriented movies that just kind of brought me in a little.
Definitely. There have been quite a few of those. But Adam, I wonder if you agree with me that the aesthetic of this film, though stylish, seems very fake. I know what we're talking about. We're talking about a superhero movie with a giant planet-eating bad guy that's coming. I realize that we're in a different kind of mindset here, but it all felt like a soundstage to me. Like I said in my radio review, it looked like right behind any of these doors would have been a person in a grungy break room with their costume head in one hand and a cigarette in the other. It looked very curated, like a park exhibit, like actually being at Disney.
You know, it's funny because I never even thought of that until you mentioned it. But now that I'm going back to it, something just seemed kind of off the entire. Now, don't get me wrong. Overall, I liked it. I think there's problems with it, and that's, you know, and the longer it's gone on, the more the new movie smell is worn off, and I'm not quite as fond of it as I was. But that does exactly explain that weird little itch at the back of my head that I was like, I mean, obviously, yeah, it's a fake set because it's a movie and it takes place in this like. I don't want to say it was with BioShock because it's completely different than BioShock, but it kind of had that same feeling for me for some reason. If you haven't played BioShock, it's a classic. Go out there and do it. But I don't know. It felt, again, like if I went and walked on the wall and knocked it, it would fall over and you'd see it was like the prop set in Blazing Saddles.
Exactly.
That's like exactly how it felt. I think the scenes that worked better were the ones that weren't on Earth when they actually went to like Galactus's lair. And by the way, props to them for actually doing the authentic comics Galactus, not some stupid cloud. But yeah, there was a veneer over it that was just like extra shiny, like they put some extra polish on it. That as much as, you know, we've talked about how like The Dark Knight and some of those other movies are very gritty and dark, and you don't need to have gritty, dark movies. Superman was a perfect example of that. And this one is an example of as well. It's like the Fantastic Four, for the most part, can be kind of lighthearted, except for Reed Richards, who's a jerk. And even when Doom looks down on you and says you're a jerk, you've got a problem. But that's probably future stuff. You could still have some realism to it, even in a fantastical setting that would never really exist.
Look, we have watched tons of movies in the MCU with preposterous aesthetics, like so many colors, so much on screen, so much distraction, like Guardians.
Looking at you, Thor.
The Thor movies post
Even though I love them.
Endgame are ridiculous to look at, but they do feel lived in. This one just felt filmed in, like it was set up the day before, and if you bumped a table too hard, you'd see how light everything was, how fake everything was.
It kind of felt like one of the early Grand Theft Auto games when you're walking around in the city and there's tons of people there, and all of a sudden you pull out your gun and start shooting people, and then they run away for 2 seconds and stop like nothing happened.
Exactly. It didn't have a deep sense of commitment. It looked good. It did. It just didn't look real. And again, understand me. I know that none of this is real. But inside of itself, it needs to feel like it is. Brooks, you mentioned the cast, and I agree. They're good, and they're spot on. They really are. But I didn't think the script was great.
It felt like it was rushing from one thing to the next. And I think it may have been because they did the same thing that Superman did and just plopped us into the middle of this, where the characters have existed for years. They're celebrated, everybody loves them. And then now here comes a new threat. Unless you already knew who the Fantastic Four are, there was no real character build-up. I mean, obviously we don't need to get deep and psychological in a Fantastic Four movie, but it still just feels like it skirted over most of the characterizations, even while it was still focusing on the family aspect.
The whole idea of dropping us into the middle of their story, we had just talked about, Adam, how Superman did that and what a stroke of genius that was. Don't show us the origin story. We don't need it. Drop us in. Let us see these characters fully formed and watch them take on a bad guy at their prime. I loved that about Superman. And I remember, Brooks, you just mentioned it happens in Fantastic Four as well. I started the movie thinking, good for you. This is the right choice. I'm so glad. But Adam, I found myself wanting more substance as the movie went on. Not necessarily backstory, but I needed to know something about these people to care a little bit more.
Something more.
obviously Superman is well known by the entire world. I mean, you can go to the middle and darkest parts of the jungles and you could find someone who knows about Superman. For me, it worked just because of the fact that I knew who the Fantastic Four was. We've seen them in 2 movies because I heard there was one in 2014 that they tried to make and it wasn't successful. I don't know. It was lost to the annals of time. But
It's another one of those sequels that doesn't exist.
exactly right. It's like that. It's like how Scream went from 3 to 5. It was so weird.
I know. That time jump is nuts.
I know, right? But maybe that was a brilliant choice. I don't know.
I need to have a sound effect that I hit every time we do a big movie lore, like the
Lore, yeah.
Scream thing. Because
This is more of just an Adam and Brooks lore.
Like, do
well,
that.
well, no, it's Jimmy. It was Jimmy.
It is one of the things that you two talk about nearly every episode, and I have zero opinions about.
We'll have to, yeah, you'll have to make a drop. But yeah, for me, it worked because I was familiar with the characters. I kind of referenced earlier about Reed Richards, and he's known for being a jerk. But if you haven't read the comics, you wouldn't know that. I have, so maybe because I've got that history already built into my knowledge. I like the fact they didn't do it. I'm totally fine with, unless it's a superhero that you're inventing for the screen that you never find out where they came from, just put them in there. Like, I don't need to see Uncle Ben die again. I don't need to see the pearls in Crime Alley. We've already discussed that. So for me, I was fine with it. And I did feel like their family dynamic, again, while surface level, it felt real. It felt like, they were giving each other crap and joking around and they were excited for each other and had those moments, but it didn't dive in. Again, it just goes back to what with the sets. It wasn't deep. I mean, we see the Thing going to the Jewish church and synagogue and spending time with them. And it was kind of like, I get you were trying to show more of his personality and maybe his backstory, but that felt tacked on. Like, you didn't need that.
Absolutely.
So I think there's things they invested time in like that they shouldn't have and probably could have put more into that character development or building more of the dynamics. But overall, I mean, that the actors were fine, and the way they interacted together as a family did work for me. So, although I think Mole Man is the most overlooked character in the movie, might just be the best one. So
He was really good, actually, and well cast. Speaking again of the cast, Brooks, of all the casts that have tried this before, we've had a handful, right? Maybe even more than a handful.
Ugh, yeah.
Where does this one rank for you? This
I
cast?
mean, it's the best. Come on, you've got. Obviously, it was good that Chris Evans wound up being Captain America because although he was pretty good as Johnny, I liked him as Johnny.
I may have been in my bunk when those scenes came on. So
There's nothing wrong with him as Johnny. I like the old Chris Evans where he's having more fun and just kind of dinking around like not another teen movie. He's hilarious in that. He's not great, but he's really funny. So I mean,
also another time, yes.
yeah. Otherwise, I mean, you've got Pedro, he's always good. Vanessa Kirby usually is underused, so it was great to see her up front and center a lot of the time.
Yeah, I agree.
Which again probably brings up your main quirk.
Well, we'll see. We'll get there in a moment. I'm curious if we're thinking of the same thing. But Adam, same for you. Do you think this is the best assembled cast to tell this story that we've had so far on film?
Oh, easily, yeah. I mean, they all do a good job together. Again, I'd watch Chris Evans in anything, and obviously he was fantastic in Deadpool and Wolverine. That's probably his best moment in an MCU movie, if I'm being completely honest. But Pedro Pascal is lovely and everything. I've yet to see something he was in that maybe if I didn't like the movie, he wasn't the bad part of it. It's kind of like Tom Cruise. He's been in some bad things, but he's not that part. Joseph Quinn's great. Julia Garner did a fine job as Silver Surfer. I think that they kind of tried to, again, shoehorn in some stuff with that they really didn't need to do. The kind of relationship with her and Johnny Storm was weird.
It was super weird.
Because it kind of was and it kind of wasn't. But I mean, it did play off his character well. It's just kind of how he is in the comics. So I was fine with it. Like, I think they're a lot better, obviously, than that one movie that doesn't exist. And then, yeah, the first 2 movies are legitimately can be considered guilty pleasures because they're not horrible. They're far from good, but you can sit down and have a laugh and just have it on in the background and not annoy you.
Yeah.
So
Well, let's see if either one of you chooses one of those when we get to guilty pleasures.
I did not though. No.
Although I guess now the 90s would be considered a period piece, right?
Yes. Oh,
I mean, if 2020 can, the 90s can.
well, thank you, Brooks, because I forgot to mention in the opening what the guilty pleasures actually are. We're going to do 2 of them. One of them is period pieces, because, of course, Fantastic Four is a period piece. And then the second guilty pleasures group we'll do is unconventional families, because I certainly think that applies to this team. And just to wrap up my question, I do agree that even though I've got a lot of things I'm disappointed about with this film, they're by far the best cast. I loved Chris Evans in the Johnny role too, but Joseph Quinn's really good. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the world
yeah.
sort of fell in love with him on Stranger Things, but he is definitely branching out, and I think he's perfect for this part. He's got the right swagger, the right timing. He's great. So, my visual effects problem with this film, the one thing that really made me roll my eyes was the CGI baby.
Yes,
Yep.
it was as bad as The Flash.
It was. It was as
And there's
bad
so
as The
much of
Flash.
it.
There's so much of it. It's terrible. I mean, it's the whole reason I brought up Incredibles is because that baby is Jack Jack
Jack.
in every possible way. So, what are we doing with CGI? I didn't understand that at all.
And why can't you just have a baby? Like,
Because the CGI
I mean, I know it takes a
moments-
while to film a movie, but
It does, but the CGI moments, Brooks, weren't like crazy. They were just baby moments, like
just
handing
carrying it around.
handing the kid from one person to another, and it was so clearly computer. So that was the one for you guys too. We actually all agree.
Yep.
Yeah, that's lazy to me and
It
a
is.
huge waste of money. I mean, can you imagine probably how much less they would have spent if they just used a real child?
I mean, babies can't be that expensive. Brooks, you've had one.
Exactly. And if I can afford one, Marvel and Disney can afford one.
What do you guys think about what this has done for the MCU in its current state? I don't even remember what phase we're in anymore. I always
6.
forget that. 6. Thank you. You know the vibes I got at the end? I got Eternals vibes at the end. It felt like a one-off that the world didn't really ask for.
It's kind of like we need this movie just so that they exist in the MCU.
And it's going to be controversial, but I actually liked Eternals better than this.
Ooh.
Yep, I
Oh,
know.
I know. We've heard
I
that
know.
disappointing.
I know you.
Man.
I know you guys. I don't need to give you guys more reasons to be disappointed in me, but I just wanted to remind you of the one you already had. So, all right, let's go to scores. I want Adam to go first since he gave the synopsis, the incorrect synopsis. Mine was better, but please, Adam, where do you score Fantastic Four?
Well, I like it better than the Eternals because this is actually a decent film.
I'll
So the
rewatch
one
this
thing
one.
I didn't get to bring up that was also kind of took points away from it was I understand. And again, I don't have kids. You know, Brooks, you can probably attest to this more. But talking with my parents, my mom's always like how much there's that undying, unlimited love for their children. And of course, Sue Storm's going to have that for her kid. She's also very, very powerful, of course. But towards the end, which is also completely predictable. I mean, the whole movie from the moment you started to ended it, but basically it's her power of being a mom that makes her more powerful to fight Galactus. And it just goes back to the fact that is it just that women are still only seen as powerful if they're mothers kind
So
of
we've
thing.
gone from girl power to mom power.
Exactly, yeah. And again, I don't think that in a situation that someone wouldn't do that, but the whole focus, the whole movie was just on her being a mom. And again, it didn't let her kind of become her own character. So for me, that was kind of a thing. But I'm at 2.5 stars. Again, I didn't hate it. I had fun with it, and like I'll watch it again. And maybe there'll be some things I'll notice that time I didn't this time, and maybe I'll enjoy it more. But yeah, it felt more like a one-off. It felt very much part of the park at Disneyland is the perfect way to put it. So I think I was hoping for more, but the actors are great. They have fun together. Would I have changed some things? Absolutely. But it's not like I walked out regretting that I saw it. So it was very inoffensive. Thunderbolts was the much better movie. And I feel like they didn't learn from that. So
No argument there. Brooks, where are you?
I'm gonna go with 3 because, like I said, it's a lot of fun. It's the best of the Fantastic Four movies, but again, it still feels very rushed while also not contributing anything to the MCU as a whole. It's just very conflicting with the way they approach this. And like I said earlier, or a minute ago, it's like they just needed to make this movie so that they exist. And that also seems kind of lazy. Wouldn't that be the epitome of a cash grab?
I mean, because if you think about it, the Eternals only existed so you could introduce adamantium.
Which they did movies later. And so I know my tone doesn't sound like I liked it as much as I did. But yeah, 3 stars. It's a lot of fun. And the effects are better than usual, even if it does have that weird extra shine to it. But
Yeah, and the baby.
and yeah, the
Well-
CGI baby.
To me, if you asked a big studio to make a 2-star movie, this is what they would give you. I'm giving it 2 stars. It's competent. It looks great. It even feels great some of the time, but it's weightless. It has no heft. There's just nothing to it. And I'm at the point now where I need the MCU to turn up the volume on all the stuff that matters. You can't leave us where you left us after Endgame and keep giving us all these empty calories. The MCU needs to wake up and give us something real. I think the MCU just got put on notice by James Gunn in a huge way with Superman. And this movie did nothing to answer that. I'm hopeful. I'm never going to give up on the MCU, but this movie didn't do it for me. So 2 stars for me, Adam
2.5 stars.
and Brooks.
3.
A super uncommitted, equivocal 3 from Brooks. So
3.
I'll watch it again. It's fun. Sid'll like it.
we're going to take a break. We need it. And when we come back, we're going to do our 2 guilty pleasures. The first of them is period pieces. Stay with us. Welcome back to Big Movie Mouth Off. We're talking about guilty pleasures now. This is period pieces inspired by the sets and costumes and general aesthetic of Fantastic Four. I'll go first. I swore, guys, that I talked about this movie before. It's why I asked Adam to send me our guilty pleasures list. He very generously maintains the record of all those films we've talked about over 39 episodes. And I thought for sure this was in there. And I think, Brooks, I already said this to Adam, I might have mentioned it in one of the lost episodes, one of our test episodes.
Oh.
So I'm talking about a film from 2001. It's called Brotherhood of the Wolf.
Oh, yeah.
That was a lost
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah, that was an oldie.
Le Pacte des Loups, right? So this is,
Fantastic movie.
yes, 18th century France. They're in the town called Gévaudan, and they're looking for this beast. And it stars Samuel Le Bihan, and it stars Mark Dacascos. You know him from Iron Chef. He's the chairman from Iron Chef. And it's a martial arts movie. It's a period piece in France. They're looking for this giant monster. That's
Werewolf movie, kind of.
sort of. I don't want to give
They
away.
make you think it is.
They do make you think that's what it is.
It
and I
feels
don't want
like
to give
one.
away what it actually is because it's really creative.
I saw it in the theaters.
I did too. And then I bought it on DVD and I've watched it several
Now
times.
it's in
since.
4K.
Yeah, I love this movie so much. It was, like I said, 2001, so it feels like a long time ago. It is itself a period piece in terms of Hollywood history, but 2001's The Brotherhood of the Wolf is my period piece guilty pleasure. I actually think it's good, but I don't think many people know it. Brooks, you're next. What's yours?
Well, mine's from 1999, and it was a movie I wanted to see in theaters, and I never made it, but finally picked it up on video, and it's Antonia Bird's Ravenous, which the screenwriter based it off of both The Donner Party and our favorite Alfred Packers. So it's just Guy Pearce and Robert Carlyle out in the wilderness. It's set during the Mexican-American War about cannibals.
I don't know
And they
anything
kind of
about
get
this.
they kind of get super strength. They're not superhuman, but it definitely powers them up when they eat people.
I have never heard of this film.
It's a good black comedy.
I remember working at Blockbuster and I can think of the cover. It's like really, really black, isn't it?
It's just a mouth. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And it says you are who you eat.
hmm
Come on. Does it really? What year was
Yes,
that?
I'm looking at it. 1999.
That seems like a 1999 thing to say.
I know.
What's the name again? Ravenous, you said.
Ravenous.
Okay, I'm going to check that one out. Thank you for adding something to my list. Adam, I think you were supposed to go second. Sorry.
Yeah,
You're up.
it's fun. So this one is, I don't know so much that it's a bad movie. It's just interesting because it's a movie based on a musical based on a movie. And of course, I'm talking about 2007's Hairspray.
Ooh.
So if you
One of
are
my
familiar with
faves.
it, the original one was one of arguably probably John Waters' most well-made films about civil unrest and everything back in the 60s. And Tracy Turnblad was this heavyset girl who wanted to dance on TV. And her mother was very against it. Well, anyways, they made a stage musical a couple years later, and well, decades later. And then in 2007, you had the movie version of this. So you've got Christopher Walken as her dad. Michelle Pfeiffer is kind of the bad guy. The controversial casting is John Travolta as Edna, her mom, because this role has traditionally, since the very beginning, when Divine did it, played by a gay man in drag. And then Harvey Firestein did it on Broadway. So there's some controversy there, but you got Zac Efron back when he was still kind of breaking out of his High School Musical days. It's just lighthearted, silly, and fun. There is a John Waters cameo if you catch it. The music's pretty good.
I love it.
Yeah, it's well made. I think people kind of just forgot about it and kind of just got lost back there because you don't really hear much about a lot of the people who were in it aside from like the big names like, you know, Zac Efron or Michelle Pfeiffer. But
Well,
it's
I
cool.
have it downstairs.
I do too. Definitely recommend it. So check it out. But yeah, not so much a bad movie, just one I think most people don't realize exists.
You know, you're talking about me. You're going to hate me, but I never saw it. You've both given me homework on this guilty pleasure. I appreciate it. So
It's got some good themes that are important to look into, but in the end, it's like cotton candy with a couple vitamins sprinkled into it.
So Adam, say the name and year again.
2007's Hairspray.
And Brooks?
1999's Ravenous.
And mine was from the archives, one of the lost episodes, 2001's Brotherhood of the Wolf. So those are our period piece guilty pleasures. Let's jump right in to our unconventional family guilty pleasures. These are films that, even if they're bad, have interesting unconventional families, and we love them. So Adam, you get to start us off.
So if one of us didn't pick one of these movies, I would be severely disappointed because there's no other movies that family is more important than the Fast and the Furious movies.
All right, I'll have to go with my second pick.
And well, maybe you went with a different one because I had to go with Fast and Furious 7.
I was just gonna go with all of them.
No, you
Could have
can do
picked
all of them.
any one of them.
Yeah,
I was, yeah.
I did end up going with 7 because it's Paul Walker's last film, and as much as he's silly, like I've always enjoyed Paul Walker and all the stuff he's done. But yeah, you had to include any one of these as family. But this is kind of the one where it felt like it truly jumped the shark, and they realized, like, and I think it was Fast 10, where they're like, "Hey, we're superheroes because we've got bullets in our clothes and we're not dead." But this is the one where they were, jumping the cars in Dubai into skyscrapers. They dropped cars out of an airplane and parachuted them in. And it has my favorite moment in cinema of all times is when The Rock is in the hospital bed, stands up, flexes his arm, and his cast on his arm shatters, and he says, "Daddy's got to go to work." Hands down, my favorite moment in cinema.
I'll bet.
Furious 7, back from 2015, so 10 years ago.
One thing is wrong about what you said, Adam, and that was not Paul Walker's last movie. He's been in all of them since as well, thanks to whatever studio did the
He's
work
gonna be
on
in the
Jack
next one,
Jack the
too.
Baby. So yeah. Brooks, what's your guilty pleasure? Unconventional families.
Well, I guess now I have to go with my number 2 pick, but that's okay because it's the Addams Family.
Oh, yeah.
Which
We'll go,
one?
and we'll pick either. We'll just go with 1991's because that's the one that kicked the franchise off in theaters, which the second one's better. Addams Family Values is better, but the first one got so much right, and it is kind of a little darker than Addams Family Values. That one's got more of a sheen to it and way more comedy, but it's just Barry Sonnenfeld was just at the top of his game. It's probably his best movie, and it's just such a delight.
Let me go off on a tangent for just a second here. Are either of you watching Wednesday?
Of course.
Yeah, I've seen it.
I've
Even
heard
Sid's
great
watching
things.
Wednesday. She thought it got a little scary, so that should tell you something.
Well, I mean,
But that was what, 2 years ago?
and she's your kid.
She
so
also would have been 5.
if Sid thought it was scary, Adam's going to die.
Well, I think there was a scene where someone gets hit by a car or something. For some
Okay.
reason, that just bugs her. She hates when people get hit by cars in movies.
Well, that's a good thing to
She
hate.
had like a nightmare about it once, and so ever since then, it's just her thing.
Well, I'll put it on my list. I've heard very good things
Yeah,
about it.
it's really cool. It's again, it's
It's
predictable.
good Tim
Like, you know
Burton.
where it's gonna go. The only thing I don't like is that one of the early 20s guys is played by a guy in his 30s, but he's also gay and cute, so I'll allow it.
That happens all the time. That's not new. We're just lucky he's not in his 40s. But all right. So my guilty pleasure, unconventional families, is also so obvious. It's going to be embarrassing. Step Brothers, of course.
I saw that.
So
Thought about it.
that came out in 2008. The thing that I forgot about this when I was thinking about my guilty pleasures, the period piece took a minute. This one was instant. It just is the first movie that jumped into my head. I forgot Adam McKay did that movie. I totally we're talking about the man who did The Big Short and lots of other sort
No,
of.
you're talking about the man who did Anchorman and Talladega Nights
It's true. He's done those things
and
as
the
well.
other guys.
But he's kind of made a name for himself also by making somewhat serious black comedies, not just really ridiculous raunchy ones. So
Yeah.
he's a director with some range, and I just had
I do want
forgotten
the
that he'd
old
done
McKay
this.
back though.
Totally. This is a reason
But-
why. Step Brothers
yes.
is so funny. It's vintage John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell doing what they do. Half of it seems improvised and all of it seems hilarious. So I don't think people probably think of this as great cinema, but as far as guilty pleasures go, I watch it every time I find it.
I have a Catalina Wine Mixer 5K shirt.
And I know what song you were singing. Don't do it now, please. All right. So my guilty pleasure, Unconventional Families, was 2008 Step Brothers. Brooks?
1991's Addams Family.
And speaking of Adam's Family, what was yours?
Please, get off the show. Go away. 2015's Furious 7.
Furious 7. And it could have been any of them.
It
Right
could,
up-
yeah, we could have just said the whole series, but
I was
that
going to go with all of them.
Yeah, you could have said one that hasn't even been made yet because we know it's going to be about family. All right, we are going to take one last break, come back and real quickly do our coming attractions. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back for one last segment on episode 40 of Big Movie Mouth Off. I'm Jeff Counts.
I'm Brooks Bird.
And I'm Adam McDonald.
Coming attractions. Brooks, what are you looking forward to?
So, my coming attraction is a movie that was made 2 years ago and has sat on a shelf. And I can't believe that I haven't mentioned it before, but it's finally getting released. It was bought by Cineverse, the same company who gave us the unrated Terrifier 3 in theaters. And that would be The Toxic Avenger.
Oh, yes.
We've got Peter Dinklage.
Yep.
He's playing Winston Goose, I guess is his name in this. So that's interesting. But then we have also got Kevin Bacon and Elijah Wood as the bad guys, and Jacob Tremblay's in it. And I've heard that it is just gloriously ridiculous and super gory, and I just can't wait to see what he does with that mop.
This movie was all the rage for a minute. It's all people were talking about for a moment. And then you're right, Brooks. It just went away. I'd
couldn't
really
find a
forgotten.
distributor.
Now, is this MonsterVerse?
No. This is Trauma.
Unrelated. Okay, Trauma. It has a proper release date now?
August 29th.
Wow, so soon. All right.
Yeah.
Good one. Adam, what are you looking forward to?
So mine is actually a video game. I kind of have that theme going on. It's a remake. I know a lot of people, when they think of Final Fantasy, they think of the big numbers like 7 and 10. But for my money, this is the best one they did, and it's overlooked, and it's called Final Fantasy Tactics. And the new one that they re-release is the Ivalice Chronicles. So this takes place, it's a real-time strategy game, so you got to move your little guys around the board, kind of like chess, and fight monsters and everything. The story of this, though, is very, very deep. It references everything from, like, you know, any kind of classic war novels or stories or movies you've seen. It ties in a lot of stuff with how religion works to cover up and appease the masses. It's very, very difficult, but it's also interesting because you can literally have these characters be whoever you want. Like, hey, I want this guy to be a page boy. Cool, or a page boy. You know what? I'm going to have him grow and learn stuff, and now he's a ninja. Or she's a goddess kind of thing. So incredibly engaging story. They redid the whole thing, made fancy, nice new graphics, voice acted the entire thing. So, I mean, even if you want to just go read the story online, it'll probably take you about 20 pages to get through. So even for that, it's worth playing again. But this is one that I stayed up days and days and days playing nonstop to finally beat it. And I'm really excited to see it come out on the new systems.
Your last video game recommendation was Ghost of Yotei, and we talked
Yes.
about Ghost of Tsushima at that time. And I just want to let you know, Adam, that I started playing it. It's early days, but I absolutely love it. So thanks for the rec. It's awesome. Just pushing that button and having the wind tell me where to go towards my objective. It's just such a gorgeous video game idea. Kudos to that team. It's so good. All right. So what I'm looking forward to, I know the two of you are as well, Predator Badlands.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
This is Trachtenberg's movie. He did Prey, the one with Amber Midthunder.
He did
He's
the
also
animated one too, right?
He did the animated one, Killer of Killers, and he's done things like 10 Cloverfield Lane and other stuff. He knows how to handle Predator
Yes.
stories. This is kind of from the perspective of a Predator who's on this planet to basically be tested, a young one.
Becoming a predator.
Exactly. It's kind of a trials for him.
No, that was a
Predator
different
is
show.
becoming the prey.
It's kind of a trials for him, and he is either helped or hindered or whatever, at least interacting with what looks like half of a robot played by Elle Fanning. So the trailer looks amazing. I love the Predator universe. I can't wait to spend more time with it, especially as good as Prey was. Now, I haven't seen Killer of Killers yet. I need to do that. I'm going
haven't
to
either.
because I want to talk about it with you guys. But yeah, so mine is Predator Badlands. It's coming out in November. Brooks, what was yours?
The Toxic Avenger. Technically, I think it's called The Toxic Avenger Unrated on the 29th.
And Adam?
Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles,
And when does that come out?
September 30th.
Nice. All right. Well, that's going to be a wrap for episode number 40. Just one film, but as I mentioned before, there was a lot to talk about in that movie. I am going to once again ask everyone who's listening to tell your friends. Let's have another big movie mouth off bump after episode 40. Until next time, I'm Jeff Counts.
I'm Brooks Bird.
And I'm Adam McDonald.
Thank you for being with us. Big Movie Mouth Off was produced and edited by me, Jeff Counts, and co-hosted by Adam McDonald and Brooks Bird. Our theme music is written by Brian Z. Richards, and this show is dedicated to the memory of our founders, Jeff Michael Weiss, and my partner in crime for over 5 years, the incomparable Jimmy Martin.